5 years ago, college sports changed forever. On July 1st, 2021, athletes were officially allowed to profit from their name, image, and likeness. And at the time, biggest NIL deals were around $20,000. Today, some college quarterbacks are making millions, and NIL has become a multi-billion-dollar industry. But the biggest surprise wasn't athletes getting endorsement deals, it was how quickly NIL became tied to recruiting and building championship teams. The NCAA tried to create rules, but college sports moved faster than anyone expected. 5 years later, the biggest question is this: did NIL create a better future for college athletics, or did it create a system where money determines who wins? Either way, there was no going back now to the old version of college sports. And that is our subject today on the weekly college sports update. This week marks a major milestone that somehow passed without much celebration of college athletics. July 1st, 2026 was a 5-year anniversary of name, image, and likeness. And it begs the question of, has it made this better for college athletics or worse for college athletics? And before we start diving into why it began and everything like that, to answer the question, I think it's made it great for college athletes and worse for college sports, and more specifically, great for high-paying college football and basketball players, and terrible for the rest of college athletics.
Yes, 100%. And it's again, I just wanted a video game, man. That's all I wanted. I just wanted NCAA college football back. Um, but other than that, I mean, it is spun wildly out of control. It has been great for the individual. It has not been great for the atmosphere and college athletics as a whole, the way it was anticipated to be.
It's very good for the top 1%.
Mhm.
The top 1% that was already gonna make this kind of money at the next level anyway. I'm sure there's a couple of, I wouldn't say feel-good stories, but there's been some people that probably have benefited from this, being the top in their sport in a non-super lucrative professional sport like softball, like some of these other, Olympic sports, if you will, where the top echelon players are making a lot of money compared to what they would be doing previously. But for football and college basketball, like the guys that are getting all the money were still the guys that were going to get all the money at the next level. Sure, there's some role players that are probably making some money now, but overall, it's turned, I think, college football for the worse than it
Mhm.
is for the better. And the only one that's really benefiting again is the top 1% of the earners. So from that perspective, I think this is a something that obviously needs to be fixed, but also not necessarily something to be celebrated in college athletics.
No, and going back to when this started, you take a look at, Hannah and Haley Cavender. Those were like the 2 first ones. They were social media stars. They also happened to play basketball for Fresno State, and they signed endorsement deals for $20,000. Same thing with, Derek King, who was the quarterback for Miami at the time. They signed endorsement deals for $20,000, which was huge. That was a big payday at the time when NIL first started. And now you're seeing what NIL has done. NIL spending across college athletics is projected to reach $4.5 billion dollars this year. So what Jose Feliciano paid for the Padres would just barely be able to cover, or actually just miss being able to cover all of NIL sponsorship this season for college athletics.
Yeah, and I think like the biggest surprise wasn't that athletes can make money. The surprise was how quickly NIL became connected to basically pay for play.
Yep.
I'm not that surprised about it. I mean, once you
No.
open the floodgates, you knew this was going to happen. I mean, you're talking about sports, the college athletics where there was massive under the table cheating going on before you were allowed to actually pay players. There was no there's no real surprise to me that all of a sudden, some random player's name, image, and likeness was going to be worth way more than what fair market value was for a offensive tackle, trying to promote a dealership, right? Like, and all of a sudden these budgets for these places for quote marketing started to go through the roof. I mean, the idea was for people like the Cavender twins to not have to sacrifice money because not have to sacrifice income because they're popular on social media in order to play college athletics. It was for people that have ever gotten like a $20 meal, because you were a poor college kid, that not costing you like games, right? Like that was the whole reason that you did the name, image, and likeness. And that was, that needed to happen, right? I mean, it
Hmm.
was some of those rules
100%.
were so archaic and so ridiculous. And it was unprecedented, some of the situations, right? Like when they were coming up with those rules, YouTube didn't exist. You couldn't make money on YouTube on your own. You could make money on social media. It's not like they can go get a job like other college kids. It made a lot of sense. But then it got to a level of like, all right, we're gonna start paying these guys to play sports. They're getting millions of dollars, and now it's getting to the high school level where you have high school athletes getting endorsement deals. You know what? They'd probably get those endorsement deals anyway, but I think it's definitely a big incentive for signing in certain areas, signing on certain
Yeah.
teams, and that's what needs to be regulated here in the NCAA. But the problem is they have no power, as we've talked about before, and they didn't get in front of this to begin with. That led to them not having any power.
That's the biggest mistake coming with this NIL thing is that rules were not put in place and not agreed upon before this was implemented. It was just implemented, and then they said, "We'll deal with the problems as they come." And the NCAA has had a huge, huge problem trying to rein control back in. And you're still kind of leaning with the colleges, they're still kind of leaning on the whole big bad NCAA, that whole moniker and that look. The NCAA has been taking loss after L after L after L in court. So you can't really say it's the big bad NCAA anymore when it's been proven time and time again in a court of law that they really have no ability to stand up for or enforce any rules that they may have.
What's going to happen in the future? I think eventually these schools are going to be like, we're not doing this anymore. They're going to get to I think they're finally going to get to a collective bargaining situation. And at first, I think that benefits the players. And in the long term, I think it won't because they're going to have to get lawyers involved and they're going to have
Mhm.
to agree. And I think it's going to hurt them when it hurts Major League Baseball. Like Major League Baseball gets hurt by lockouts. They get hurt by this. I mean, if they're going to sign a collective bargaining deal, it's not going to be forever. There's going to be like years. I mean, you're going to have like after 5 or 6 years, you're going to have this CBA. And then I mean, think about what we go through in Major League Baseball, the collective bargaining agreement, how the top 1% kind of dictate what everybody else
Mhm.
does. You don't think that's going to get crazier with college athletics? And how do you do it? Do you do it sport by sport? I mean, is some girl playing that's going to play field hockey in college going to be affected by what some first round draft pick is demanding he gets paid, before he goes to college? I mean, that's the other thing too. Like these are situations where there are players. It's different than professional, right? These are players that there might be people that just want to go to college to play sports and like get an education. I mean that's going to be affected by collective bargaining agreements, and I think the collective bargaining agreements are going to start coming into play, but the best case scenario is you do that for men's basketball, you do that for football, you let all the other sports go back to being amateur only and allow NIL and not pay for play, and you might be able to fix this. But as we sit 5 years past the first inclination of making money on your name, image, and likeness, it's great for certain college athletes. It's probably times have never been better for them. It's not great for the college sports as a whole.